Jesus comes home. After he performs great miracles on both sides of the shores of the Sea of Galilee, Jesus finally returns to Nazareth, the place where he grew up, where he lived an ordinary life, where he has family. And in Nazareth, people know each other. They are neighbors. They go to the same synagogue, attend the same weddings. They are each other's customers. They see their kids growing up together. And now this one here, the man teaching in the synagogue on the Sabbath, this is little Jesus, who grew up just around the corner. And you can hear them at first whispering in amazement, then talking louder and louder as the mood changes. Is this Jesus, the carpenter, who fashioned their tables and benches? And now he's speaking so wisely, teaching even. Where did he get all this? And have you heard of his healings? A paralytic man. Yes, and one with a demon, and a woman. And I've heard of a child that he raised from the dead. I've heard of a storm that he rebuked and the wind stopped. That was all him? Jesus? The Jesus? Carpenter Jesus? You know, the son of Mary, Jesus? Ah, yes, Mary, and you know who? Ah, right, fatherless Jesus. And he's here to teach us? Us, really? How dare he? Let's go, let's leave. He can't have anything to tell us. We know him. I've seen him grown up. I always knew he was a scallywag. And as they are leaving, Jesus yells after them, "Prophets are not without honor, except in their hometown, and among their own kin, and in their own house." This is not a flattering portrait of the community of Nazareth or of Jesus himself. The people appear mean-spirited, jealous, mocking, and Jesus responds in a venomous tone. But this exchange is a strong reminder of the humanity of both the people of Nazareth and Jesus himself. Are we sometimes like the people of Nazareth? We like to see the same people around, don't we? Those who seem no different from us. Talk to them in the same way we've always done, forever, to confirm what we think, what we believe, what we do. And when we meet someone again after a long time, isn't it often a cautious working round until we realize this person is still like us, talks like us, eats like us, wears the same clothes as we do, votes like us. And only then we start to relax, to get comfortable. That's the easy route. But in taking the easy route, aren't we also limiting our experiences and encounters? Escaping questions and self-reflections, limiting our mind and our faith? Because what deed of God's power are we missing when we make decisions and judgments about how and through whom God's work can be done? Jesus had left Nazareth, followed his calling, built up a movement whose unquestioned leader he was, and he has discovered what he was able to do, that he can inspire people, help them, bring a change for better. But now here in Nazareth, he hits a wall created by the people of Nazareth, made of firm convictions that they know Jesus best, made of their limited perspectives on him, and the feeling to be threatened by Jesus, his followers, and their way of life. And I can feel Jesus' frustration building up. Mark writes, and he could do no deed of power there, except that he laid his hands on a few sick people and cured them. And he was amazed at their unbelief. Jesus is powerless. Let me say that again. Jesus, the Son of God, the Messiah, endowed with God's own power, is powerless. Isn't that a troubling statement? But again, it's a reminder of Jesus' humanity, rendered powerless by those who doubt his calling. But Jesus decides to move on, and his rejection in Nazareth follows the decision to send out his 12 disciples that have accompanied him so far. They have seen him teach and heal. They have learned from him without yet fully understanding who he really was. And now, after this embarrassing welcome in Nazareth, they know what to expect when they go on a mission. They won't always be welcome, and they will have to learn to deal with it. What makes their task so hard is that the disciples are sent out with a bare minimum. Take just a staff to help you walk and to ward off wild animals. Wear sandals and one tunic, not two. This way, the disciples are forced to rely on their faith, the faith that God provides. God provides hospitable people who hear them and who are willing to take them in for a night or two. And God provides the right words to teach and the ability to cure. During seminary, future pastors must do a certain time of chaplaincy. And I remember this time as a very stressful one, but also very rewarding. Going from door to door in the hospital with nothing but the name of the patient behind that door. I didn't know about the diagnosis. I didn't know anything about the history of that person. I didn't know about their faith. As I served a hospital in former Eastern Germany, where the church had and still has sometimes a bad reputation through the socialist history of the country, I was often very tense when I entered. I introduced myself with my name and saying I was from the Protestant chaplaincy and that I'm here to visit them. And a couple of times I had to deal with being yelled at and being thrown out of the room because the person didn't want to have anything to do with church. And in these moments, I felt so incredibly weak and exposed and vulnerable. But there are other people behind other doors, and I had also very deep conversations that stuck with me, where I knew my being here today had made a big difference to that person, and where we both felt God present with us, though my unchurched host would probably use a different language to describe it. What I learned from that time in the hospital is that if we want to encounter God in our lives, we should make room for God in our lives. Stop organizing and being the host. Instead, try and be the guest of others' hospitality, where you can't choose the wine or the food or the music or the air freshener of the house. Make room in your head and in your heart and allow for space for the unexpected, even in people that you think you know well, and be aware of your assumptions. That is not easy because we like to be in control, don't we? We like to be in control, if possible, of every tiny aspect of our life because we know how fragile we are beneath. We experienced that when COVID-19 stopped cold our world and our lives last year, and it felt exhausting in so many ways. We experienced our fragility when relationships are breaking up or when we feel that our body doesn't do what it should do. Every time when we say, that's life, something has occurred that leaves us weak, exposed, vulnerable. But what we can trust in is that God is present, even in the difficult things that God doesn't cause. God is with us when we are rejected by former neighbor and friends, when we are sent on the road like Jesus' disciples, not knowing if we are causing offense to anyone, when we are sick excluded, isolated, confronted with death and pain. Like Paul writes in 2 Corinthians, our second reading of today, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And we have that verse right here at Grace Lutheran Church. God's grace is sufficient. So I challenge you this week. Give it a try. Go on a mission. All you need is openness to meet other people, the willingness to listen, and time. Just be the wonderful, fragile, broken, weak, loved, and loving creature that you are, and see what happens. Amen.